Hello and welcome. This is Jim with Working with Miniatures. We'll be finishing up the Pathfinder Battles Deep Cuts Merchants Pack in this video, and I have a ton of stuff to do today, so let's get started. With priming done in the previous video, I use Undiluted Army Painter Matte White to add a pre-base coat highlight wherever I will be using contrast paint. I use Warp Lightning for the dress, though I'm careful to keep the green paint off of the apron. I move quickly with a well-loaded brush. Contrast paint sets pretty quick, and I want to keep a wet edge for when I come full circle and meet the point I started at. This will help ensure the starting and finishing lines blend smoothly. I wick up the large pools of contrast paint immediately after coating using a clean brush. I then repeat these steps for the rest of the dress above the apron's waistline, again careful to keep the paint off the apron itself. I paint the hair with Flesh Terror's red, and then come back and wick away any excess with a clean brush. I returned to matte white to clean up the apron where contrast paint had unintentionally settled. Gunmetal is used to paint the tray, while true copper is used for the mugs and the plates. Then I add edge and volumetric highlights to the tray with shining silver and to the mugs and plates with weapon bronze. For the skin, I lay down a few light coats of barbarian flesh. For the skin highlights, I use 1-to-1 mix of barbarian flesh and mummy robes that is thinned to a glaze. I generally layer 3 to 5 layers of glazes. I learned in the previous video that mummy robes is too harsh for a highlight for tan flesh, but it is perfect for barbarian flesh. I do another milder highlight with pure mummy robes that are thinned to a glaze. I add several layers of this and allow time to dry in between. With jungle green, I highlight the highest edges of the dress. I then highlight the hair with dragon red. While the hair dries, I drop flesh tone wash on the hands, cleavage, and around the face, also the border of the hairline. I then wick away the excess. I apply pure red to the hair as a medium edge highlight, primarily where the light would catch the most. As the hair dries, I fill in the eye sockets with matte black, and then again with matte white for the sclera of the eye, leaving a slight border of black around the outskirts. As the eyes dry, I return to the hair, adding lava orange as thin edge highlights where the light would catch the most. I return to the eyes with matte black, having shaped the brush to a fine point and removing most of the paint. I'd rather have to make multiple careful passes to get the paint where I want versus one pass to get the paint everywhere I don't want. I add Tester's Clear Part Cement and Window Maker to the mugs. This is an excellent tool for liquids or lenses for goggles, but be warned, it is incredibly runny. Immediately dab away excess with bits of paper towel. For the base, I decided on planks of a wooden tavern floor. However, the bottom of the figure appears to be a large boulder. I used cutters to remove the rounded ends, cutting the rock to a rectangle around the figure. With the base of the figure squared, I use an X-Acto knife to cut strips from a popsicle stick to serve as the planks. I bevel them slightly before gluing them and the figure to its 26mm base. With the cutters, I then trim the planks around the contour of the base. Next, I need a small amount of milliput. I had seen YouTube videos of people adding water to it and then using the malleable sludge to fill in gaps on the miniatures. I figured it would be perfect to fill the gap between the planks and the squared figure's base. And this was a failure on my part. I either didn't add enough water or maybe it was green stuff and not milliput. Hell, I can't remember. So we're gonna just go old school here and taking a minute amount of milliput and pressing and forming it where it needs to go. I sand the border of the popsicle sticks as well as the dried milliput. I work carefully so I don't accidentally sand any of the paint off of the miniature. With an awl, I punch small divots at the ends of the planks to serve as nail holes. Then I scribe lines to serve as the grain of the wooden planks. For the base coat of the planks, I use fur brown, and I do this with several light coats thinned with water. Once dry, I throw dark tone as a wash over top of the planks, before finally edge highlighting it with a mix of desert yellow and mummy robes. As for some lessons learned, in the future I need to spend some more time cleaning up mold lines. I realize that some of these spots are still visible after painting, particularly the merchant's boots and the waitress's arms. I also learned that with contrast paints I need to move a little quicker than I did when I first started, otherwise I'll end up with a blotchy finish. As for my first foray with the AK Interactive Dry Ground, it's pretty much what I was expecting. It's similar to working with spackling or drywall if you're familiar with that. Be sure to work over drop cloth or some paper towels as you'll have errant crumbles everywhere. That's all for today. I hope you learned something or were inspired to start or expand your own collection. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them. And if you like the content of this video and like to see more, please like, share, or subscribe. This is Jim from Working with Miniatures, and I am truly grateful for your time, and I bid you a fond farewell. Until the next time.